All right, welcome to our weekly talk show, New Gambia platform. Today is September 25th, 2022. Today we're gonna be talking about President Barrow's the protest against his government, and we're also gonna talk about youth and crimes, the rising murder case in the Gambia. I'm here with my co-host Mfamara Drame in Maryland, and I'm your host here, Mood Sawan in New York. Welcome, Famara. Sam will join us later during the show. Welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Sawane. Good morning to viewers and listeners. Once again, we welcome you to our weekly program on the New Gambia platform. So my name is Famara Drame, Washington, D.C.
Thank you, Famara. So Famara, we have seen in video footage, and I live in the city here. I wasn't in the protest, but I heard about it late. So we have seen on the footage, and then we've noticed that huge number of Gambian came out. So at this disapproval of President Barrow's work, they were accusing him of corruption, the $35 million that came to his wife's account. Also, they were accusing him of I think deportees also, and host of other issues. So we're gonna look into this particular protest, how it was put together, who are involved, and what it means to Barrow and his government, and moving forward, what it means to Gambian democracy. So Famara, you have the floor.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Sawane. And then just like you rightly said, we are living in a democratic country, and then it's not new when head of states from different parts of the world comes to the United Nations for the General Assembly meeting. We have seen citizens of various countries coming out to welcome their heads of states. But on the other hand, also we see other people, group of people also that are also expressing their dissatisfaction about the way government is doing things and all that. So that's normal democracy. First of all, we welcome the president's participation as usual, coming to represent the whole country to the United Nations, because this is where global issues are raised by different countries, and then United Nations will listen to those concerns and then hopefully, help them in terms of resolving those global issues. So as you already know, 2 years ago, there was COVID-19. Most of these general meetings were not, they were held virtually. Most of these international conferences and, summits were held virtually. So this year we have the world, the gathering of world leaders back to the United Nations again. So I think this is a welcome. It shows that as globally, we're able to unite and fight the COVID-19 pandemic, which obviously now, it has reduced significantly, even though we still have the variants existing. A lot of, immunizations have taken place. People have taken COVID shots. Global efforts have been done in terms of, sensitization, to enlighten people about, the impacts of this disease on our health and on the economy, because many countries has felt the impact. So now out of that, and also this Ukraine war started as well, which are also, kind of united communities together, countries together. But on the other hand, others were, fighting or Ukraine and Russia also, in conflict. So all of these issues has brought a lot of confusion. But glad that we have the world leaders back to United Nations today, this year, for the General Assembly. And then our president happens to be one of them that came. And then we have seen the huge crowds that welcome the president at the hotel. We have seen that the very day he arrived, a large crowd of Gambians welcomed him, to United States. And then also on Thursday, we have seen also some concerned citizens that also have some issues of national concern that they want to highlight to the president to inform the Gambia head of state and his delegation, like some of the issues that are affecting our country, like corruption is one of them. And they also talk about, embezzlement of funds, or maybe some of the funds like the $35 million that was paid to the first lady's account. And also, we also heard about drug dealing issues. It's also a concern, youth unemployment, and also the deportation of our youths from Europe, mainly in Germany. Recently we have seen a lot of Gambians being returned to Germany, from Germany to Gambia. So these are all concerns that people highlighted at the protests. And I think these are, it's normal democracy. Everybody have the right to express what you think it is correct and it is not correct. And then you make it aware that the president needs to know, and the delegation. So I think their presence also is being felt at the United Nations, even though it was not a big number. But then their protest, what they wanted to highlight to the government or to the head of state, I think has been, vocal out there. So people have at least known why they protested. So I hope the president and delegation will look into those concerns, because they are Gambians and they are also contributing to the development of the Gambia. So if they feel one particular sector or something needs to be improved in terms of helping us to move our country forward, I think those concerns should also be listened to.
Okay, thank you, Farms. Thank you, Governor. Thank you. That's a good. I think that's a good analysis of the whole president's protest issue. Now, the thing is, I live here in New York, and I know the German youth to come here, and then people protest. According to sources, this protest is more organized. The numbers are more, and people are more, courageous to come out and speak the truth to power.
Right.
For the first time in the history. So that need to be, cleared, and that need to be put out.
Right.
The fact that the president has to go through back door, what do you make that out of? I never think even Jammeh, he's never been taken, not that I had of, through the back door. What do you make out of that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like you already said, democracy is democracy. People have the right to come out and express whatever they feel is not going right in our country. And like you said, I also read that the number of people that protested this year is more than what the numbers coming out during Jammeh's time to come and protest at the UN. And then if you look at those, it could be various reasons, because at the time when Jammeh was there, I mean, Jammeh, was a dictatorship, basically. I mean, what they're trying to do, not many people have the courage at the time, because to come out to even protest at the United Nations. We know that we have a very good number of our people in the struggle or in diaspora that are very vocal, that have been in the struggle for a very long time, fighting against dictatorship, trying to bring democracy in our country. Those people never relent. They are always in the forefront, all right? And then they have always been very vocal in terms of, the problems Gambia has been going through. So I think partly one of the reasons why the number has increased now, because now the democracy is in the Gambia now. This present government has been very tolerant in terms of, people expressing their democratic rights, freedom of speech to come out and express whatever they have, compared to Jammeh's time. Because Jammeh's time, we have seen, even people in diaspora, some of them have been reported, or people have been trying to, when they go back home, they've been trying to be arrested, or been getting in trouble or questioned about why you in a protest. Or we have seen even people falsely trying to bring list of people who have been in the protest, basically. So at that time, there was a fear, probably 22 years ago, when Jammeh, as in the United Nations, for people to come out and protest, because they want to fear that maybe their families back home are going to be in trouble for them being challenging Jammeh at the United Nations. So that fear factor was there. But this time around, it's changed, because those people who have been struggling, fighting against Jammeh are the same people who fought for, for Gambia that, led us to the democracy we are all enjoying today. So the high number of people at the United Nations this year is because we have a freedom, we have a democracy in our country now. So people have the right to come out and express their views without being fear of being arrested or your family in getting in trouble. So that could be one of few factors why the number of people have increased, compared to previous years when Jammeh was here. So that was it. And I also understand, just like you said, we remember in 2016 or 2015, I think Jammeh was basically smuggled out of the back door, going to attend the United Nations because of the people who are there. They were afraid because American government will not compromise security of a head of state, because when a head of state left their country, come to the US, the security of that person and the delegation is in the hands of the United States and government. So when they, as much as they respect democracy of people coming out to express their views, but at the same time also they don't want to compromise security. So it doesn't mean that Jammeh was afraid to come and face the protesters, or Barrow was afraid to come face the protesters, but because maybe the security reason of that country, which is the United States, they feel that to avoid all those commotion and avoid delays of the president leaving the hotel because he was supposed to give a speech at the United Nations on that particular day. So in that regard, to make things smooth and to move out quickly was to take him out through the back door. So that's the way they do it for security reason, so that the president can go and address the delegation, then the assembly, but at the same time also reduce the potentials of conflict where they will be interacting with protesters. So I think those all could be factors responsible for the president taking the back door, and even Jammeh taking the back door at the time.
Okay, so that is a normal routine, right? So it's not a big deal.
Yeah, it's security concerns. If they host the people protecting the president and the delegation, when they feel that there is a presence of protesters right in front of the hotel, and the president using the front door could bring chaos either with the supporters of the president and the other side, then, security reasons, they just have to listen to what the security advised them to do.
Okay. Yeah, but it's I guess usually that happens when there is a massive number of people out there.
Right.
The threat. But if it is like handful of people, I don't think they would do that, right?
I don't think so. But still you never know, because they can see it when it's moving. And then also we had people talking about throwing eggs. I don't know whether that is going to be true or not. But if that was going to happen, then you could imagine, even if you're far away, a little bit far away, and you throw egg onto a team of delegation, that could bring some conflict over there, even though it's a small amount of people. So all of that could be, so you don't underestimate security issues when there is even a iota of concern. So I think that should be something they consider as well.
Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Now the allegations they are saying, the other side, Dusano and came out and said that they are not saying that the president is killing people. The president is doing, like a human rights abuse. But the things that they are saying, he said it fuller, more. I cannot even remember that. He said that those are writing things that on the tablets and on their screens. I mean, on the stuff that they carry. Nobody understand what they are even writing. That means they don't even know what they are talking about. So this is a shame to the country, to the Gambians. If people are here, they don't have any work to do. According to the court, they have no work to do. They need to go back and go do farming or whatever. So they need to take them back. So there was some kind of like a little frustration there. When he was saying this, I could see it. I could relate. I could relate that he was disappointed and they were disappointed. I knew, perhaps they knew that there would be some kind of protest, right? But I don't think they knew this magnitude. It was like a blow in the face. And then it is like a stab in the president's popularity. So what do you think? What do you think the camp, Faro's camp, they're thinking, or what is their thought process about how to move forward with it? Because right now, this is the talk. This is the talk of the Gambia.
Yeah, I think Du did not understand that America, there's a democracy here. People have the right to express what they want to, even though he feels. Sorry, Mahmoud, hold on. I'm sorry, Sawane.
That's okay.
Yeah, so Du did not understand that people have the right to express what they want to say, especially when they feel that the president is not actually, or they feel what they think the president should do is not doing it in the Gambia. People have the right to come out. So Du can be, I know one of the reasons Du is here, Du is a political advisor, and we all know that.
Yeah. But he has no reason to be here, by the way. So some critics are saying.
Yeah, I mean, that's the purpose he's brought for. He's brought here just to be on the sideline. Yeah,
to be a big mouth.
Yeah, because he's not going to be participating in any side events where he's going to make a presentation of what is happening in Gambia. But before the fact that they know that this is going to be a forced protest against Barrow, and people like him will be very important to bring along so that they can be around the periphery of the hotel area.
Too. Yeah,
exactly, and be with the team of supporters, Barrow supporters on the ground, so he can be able to make those political statements. But what he did not understand is that, yes, this is a free country. People have the right to express what they want to say. So anybody here in America have a work to do, but people leave their job, to come and stand at that protest line because they feel their voice should be heard. So that's what he need to respect in any democratic society or in a democratic country. So people coming out, doesn't mean that they don't have a job to do. They have a job to do. In fact, some of them have taken a day off from their job. Some of them have already.
Yeah, that actually surprised me on a Thursday. I mean, people have to really want to do this in order to leave their jobs on a Thursday or take time off to fly over, pay tickets from a different part of the country to come over. It must be worth it to them.
Absolutely. It's worth it. Even if it is 1%, it worth people coming out to express their view. Not everybody will be in an agreement when it comes to development of a nation. Some people will agree with certain policies, some will disagree with certain policies. The ones that agree with what the president is doing, they have all right to come and express and thank the president, just like what we've seen when the first day the president arrived in the country. Outside the hotel, large number of people that came out to thank the president, what he's doing, and then assure him that they are behind him and his development agenda,
The first day he came.
Yeah, the first day he came.
Yeah, that was actually, I was gonna say this. That was impressive because the way they organized it, and then I don't know who were the organizers of this, but I was one of the people in 2017 who put together Barrow's town hall meeting.
Right.
Some of these people who were there, they were nowhere to be seen because during that time, Barrow is considered as UDP. So some of these people, especially in the circular communities and then in some fuller communities, they were not seen and they were nowhere to be seen. So I was really shocked this time around. It was like an overtone. Those sides are the ones who came out. And elderly, most of them are elderly that came out. So it looked like it was a mobilized, force, and they were successful. I have to be honest, in the sense that the numbers were, a lot more than expected. So, but like you said, just to add that to your point, it was really the coming and then expressing their support was also a success, according to what the video footages that we saw.
Yeah, it was a huge turnout. It was a good success, and then the president was happy, and the delegation, they were happy to see the people I think that make them feel comfortable because of what they heard was going to happen in New York. And then even when the supporters came, some of them were even asking, where are the other people who said they are going to come out? Yeah, so they
not knowing what is behind.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what it is. That's what is there. But yeah, what I want to say about Do is a political advisor and of course a strong supporter of the NPP. I know whatever he was saying was a political statement, but he's a civil servant, and what he wants to understand is that people have the right to say if they're not happy with what is going on in the government, to express their view, and entirely they're entitled to that, you know. But some of the things happening like corruption, we all know. We hear a lot of corruption cases in the Gambia. You know, we heard about the Nawek cases, the Social Security. We also have about the Gam Petroleum. We heard what is happening at the Justice Ministry. You know, we had all these funds that are, you know, being, you know, spent, you know, without the government. We have seen the auditor's report, you know, various allegations of corruption. But up till now, nothing is
has been done.
You know, it's been done, you know, obviously to let the people know what is going on. I don't think it should take this while, you know, for some of these allegations to, you know, be cleared out in the air so that citizens can have confidence and trust in the government. Because people are saying Barrow is quiet, Barrow is not fighting this, Barrow is not doing this, Barrow is not doing that, because they have seen a slow pace of these investigations. They're still not coming out. People don't know what is going on. And then once you allow those things to go under the carpet, those are some of the things that, you know, fade away people's trust, you know, in the system. You know, you look at the drug case, for example, you know, still now nobody knows who is Banta Keita, you know, and then his accomplices, who are they? You know, that huge tons of drug that come into the country, that, you know, even the, you know, the, how do you call it? Is it the FBI or that other, you know, what is the name of that international agency that was involved? So all of this should be something that, you know, is putting out the image of our country, you know, in a negatively, you know. So the government should speed up and then conclude those investigations and then come out to the general public and say, this is what is happening, so that people can know and it can build confidence, because it will have a knock-on effect on our tourism, on our economy. So those are situations that are very important for people to highlight at the United Nations. And I saw one lady also talking about Gambian women's life matters, which is a very big case to tell the president. I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. People coming out and saying, Mr. President, Gambian women's life matters, because we are seeing it every day that the women are dying. Our women are dying, you know, in childbirth at the hospitals. Right. You know, some are saying they're even operating, the electricity goes off, there is no power. Somebody will just die on the operating table. These are all unacceptable things that we don't allow our, you know, to happen in our country. You know, the Minister of Health should be questioned by now. Why are people dying? You know, the children are also dying now of this chronic kidney disease. You know, the acute chronic disease is also coming in. So these are all things that people have the right to go and question their government. What are they doing about this, to highlight it? Because it shouldn't just continue. A hospital cannot run out of blood. You know, we need to make sure that there is enough supply of blood, or blood bank is fully, accommodated. You know, we need to have a lot of equipment that are necessary to save people's life. So when people have a genuine concern over these issues and to express it to the president, those people should not be viewed as either they're somebody who don't like their country or hate President Barrow, or maybe they are even part of UDP, because I'm hearing some people are saying they are UDP people. I'm not sure, which I'm not sure about, but I know people have a genuine reasons or concerns to highlight to the president. So we should listen to them and then see how you can respond back to them, give them answers that can convince those people that the government is doing something about it. We are not ignoring it, but we are doing something about it. Maybe it could be at a slow pace, but something is being done, you know, because our women are losing their life. Our children are dying, you know, first-time mothers. You know, that's a big concern. If that's not a concern to anybody in the Gambia, then you might be living in a different world. You are living in a different country. It's a concern, and this has nothing to do with party line or politics or the hate or support for Jammeh or Barrow. No, this is a concern for everybody in the Gambia. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, I think we have Sam here. Sam, welcome. Right on time.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah. So Sam, we are at the same topic about President Barrow's protest against him here in New York. So you can weigh in your analysis. You've seen the video footages and the reaction from Dusano and others of what they thought this attack. I mean, this is not an attack, but it is this protest is all about, and how they downplay for Sikumbalo and others. So you can give us your thoughts. Famara has already gone in depth, and yes.
Yep. Thank you, and thank you, Famara. Thank you. I heard the last part that he was talking about, so and really makes sense a lot. So thank you for that, and thank you both. So, but anyway, so my take on that is protests are normal. They are fundamental and democratic rights for people to protest against something, or or demonstrate against something if they have to. And it's normal everywhere in the world. But the key to it is really look at what people are saying. Is that true? Is that legitimate reason for them to protest and things like that? And if I look at what the people are saying on their messages that they displayed the day of the protest, they are legitimate reasons, and they are very legitimate, and of course they are concerned for Gambian citizens, and the government and anyone in leadership, the president and his team and his administration, need to really look at those as these are true and honest feedbacks that the people are giving them. These are true and honest reflection of their government. And they need to take action. They need to really acknowledge them and go back and take a look at themselves in the mirror and say, ask themselves, what people are protesting, are they true? Is there corruption in the country? Absolutely, yes. We all know that is the number one problem in our country. So everyone knows that. And the president need to ask himself and his administration, they need to ask themselves, what are they doing about it? Especially the president, because the president is the chief executive officer for our country. So he needs to be the one who is also the chief law enforcement officer. So everything, he's the number one person. He's the chief diplomat. That's what a president is. So he needs to be the one that should say, okay, what do we need to do to control corruption in our country? And corruption is, like I said, the corruption is just one of them, is the main one there. Is the biggest issue that we have in our country. If you look at the maternity rate, in our country, you look at all the issues that these people, I didn't read and look at every single flyer that they have, but the ones that I've seen are very legitimate. They are very legitimate. So if I were the president, I would say, okay, when I go back from here, it's a protest can be an embarrassment for a government. For Gambian people to come out and protest and say there's a lot of corruption. Yes, we know there's a lot of corruption, and everything that they said, the president need to look at and start something to mitigate these problems, knowing that they are issues, and he needs to acknowledge that, because before you can solve a problem, you need to acknowledge that there is a problem. And there is a problem. All Gambians know that there is a problem. So he needs to come up with a solution. If he can't find a solution, seek help, find help. Go outside of the people that you have, because your advisors are not people that can advise you the reality. Go outside of your advisors and look for help and see, because the president may not know how to control this corruption. None of his advisors know how to control this corruption. Even if they do, they are not taking the right steps to do that, because they are part of the problem. If they are part of the problem, you cannot solve the problem. So you've got to be a solution to the problem, not part of the problem. So in that case, he needs to go outside and find advisors or people that can give him things that he can do to solve this problem. But Corruption starts with the president. He's the only one that can stop it, because anybody else that comes in to try to stop it, that person will be looked at as an enemy. That person will be eliminated if they're in the government. That person will be looked at as, this is the person that don't want people to have money, don't want people to know. Gambian money, our funds are our funds. They are for Gambia, not for individuals to go build story buildings, not for individuals to travel all over the world and get per diems and enjoy that money with their family when others are suffering, when our hospitals are dilapidated and no medical supplies, and when women are dying and children are dying in the hospital. All of that money could be used to buy tools and technology and help the hospital do something to solve the problem. So these are legitimate reasons. I look at it as legitimate reasons. And the ones that are trying to downplay this, they are part of the problem. That's why they're part of the problem. That's why they're downplaying it. Because if you're an advisor to the president and you know for sure that there's corruption, you know for sure that, even the number of people the president went with, I'm hearing around 40 people. I mean, what's the necessity for that? What are all those people? I don't know the exact number, but how many people should the president go with to such a place? You really don't need that many people, because you're costing us money. The president is costing us money.
What are the roles? What are the roles of those people even? Like so a National Assembly member, a youth advisor, president's political advice. Is this a political trip? What are the use of all these numbers? And then we keep making the same, it's not a mistake, the same practice that Jammeh administration was making. We complained about this when Jammeh was on power. He brought in tons of people. So sometimes you have to, we have to, I think we are not learning.
Yep. So sometimes people like African presidents, I think is more of the insecurity than anything else. They want to take a lot of people so the international world can see that they came with a lot of people that support this president. That's one way to look at it. They can look at it that way. They came with a lot of people, so there's a lot of people behind this president, when in reality may not be the case. And if you look back in the country, not a lot of people may be behind the president. So they can use that as one. Another one is, everyone wants to get their fair share in that government. People in the administration want to go. There are people that have never been to New York. First time stepping foot in New York, they want to see America.
Like Dusano.
They want to see America. They want to get every opportunity.
Like Dusano is one of them.
What's that?
Like Dusano is one of them.
Yeah, he's never been anywhere. I don't know.
Really
not in America. So that was his first time, and that's why he made those comments that that he made.
Actually, he said that it's good that we fix our capital in New York. Every country.
New York is not the capital of America.
He gave us a high grade by making us the capital and taking us away from Mama.
Yep. So I know. So people like that, they are going because of curiosity. They're really not going to help the president with anything. He can't help the president with his speech. He can't help the president with any political move there, coming to New York. So for him to come to New York, it's a good thing. I'm not against anybody traveling to anywhere. They can travel, but let the travel be useful. Let it be meaningful. Let it have a benefit for our country, not be a waste to our country. So and I hope it's an eye opener. And of course, it's an eye opener for people like Dusano coming to New York and see what the real world is. Hopefully, when he goes back and when he sits and talks with the president, he can tell him, really, we are way behind time. Just like I always said, Gambia, since independence, we are 57 years old and we are 57 years behind time. It's a very small country that could be easily developed. So hopefully Dusano can go back to the president and say, wow, this was an amazing trip. And I'm glad I went. What I've seen in New York, we are way behind time. We have nothing. So let's stop spending all this money. Let's stop spending and wasting Gambian people's money and put it into our country and develop our country. I hope he goes with that message and tell the president, because if he doesn't do that, then his trip was no use to Gambian people. So So, like I said, it's really expense, and the government need to control the expenses. If you are saying you're a poor country, and we've taken so many loans and grants that we brought to our country and have not utilized all of them effectively and appropriately, because people are mishandling our funds. And that's part of the reason some people were out in protest. We have all these funds and all this money coming to our country. We're not seeing it. We're not seeing where that money is going. We're still seeing the same hospitals in the same conditions. We're still seeing the same education system. We're seeing the same agriculture system. We're seeing the same thing in tourism. You go to every ministry in the country. What ministry can really, in my eyes, what ministry really stood out very well that we can say, wow, that Gambian people can say, wow, since this president came to power, with his administration, he is one ministry that really worked very well for the country and made a huge and tremendous impact on our country positively. I don't know. And if you ask any Gambian, they're going to tell you, it's the same old business, same old people are coming back and circling back into or recycling the same people that were in Jammeh's administration. And if they didn't do anything in Jammeh's administration, what are they going to do for Barrow? Nothing other than spend our money and waste our money, go back to the same old things and expect different results. And that's not going to happen.
Thank you. So, Mpambara, thank you so much, Sam, for that. This protest, like I said, I was here in the city. I was coming from Staten Island. I didn't know about it until the day. And what regrets me was that I left Manhattan on my way to the Bronx, and somebody called me and brought it to my attention that these people have been protesting. I said, gee, I could have just passed by. The fact of the matter is nobody could tell who really put the protest together. And I think the government would like to know, as usual, they will always like to point out who are the people to target or who are the people behind things. Mm-hmm. So thank God that some of us were not there, because otherwise we would have been given that credit for being behind there, since UPC was not actually the ones that came up with the idea according to sources. They were brought into it. But the fact of the matter is, all that is not important, and even the numbers are not that great. But to have a president 6 years in power to face these challenges abroad, to the point that they have to take you through the back door, to the point that people were there 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. According to the protesters, they have the whole day. People had to leave their work. I know how, the West is. If you have to take a day off, some of them are not even going to get paid because they are not on a salary. Now, if it was that for Gambians, the fact that Dusano and Sekumbalo and others who are president's spokesperson or kind of like advisors are saying that these people are a handful. They don't want to even be here. They need to go back home and help, farm or whatever. Their people need to pick them up. So with all that, if you look at this protest, if I were the president, if I'm on his team, this is an eye-opener. What is it that they could do to turn the ball around? Because it looks like President Barrow is becoming like Jammeh. Not the fact that he is doing what human rights abuses that Jammeh was doing, but the trend is following. Is it that because he's carrying Jammeh's people? Or is it that he's been directed by majority of Jammeh's people? That's why we are getting this. I understand the fact of the situation of the country. Yes, COVID was an issue. Yes, Ukraine and Ukraine and Russian war is an issue. Globally, everybody's struggling. I got that. But the way, to the extent that this went, even though Barrow's administration gave us, they maintain, because we fought for this, freedom of speech, freedom of everything, like we are more, free. We don't have, all those human rights abuse, even with all that. But people find a reason to challenge this president to this man.
Yeah.
This is very, very powerful. And if anybody underrated, in his administration, you joking, because now people have defined the administration. You don't allow people to define you. Even if you are in politics, if your opponents define you, that's what Donald Trump did to all his opponents. You can never, it's going to be difficult to counter it. So it has been defined now. Anywhere he goes, Europe, England, people have something that works. That is these things that you guys have mentioned. Those things will not go out because his administration is not going to take away this corruption. Let's face it.
Absolutely.
This corruption is not going to do any. If you want to take it away, they will take him out of power.
Right.
And people are supporting him. I guarantee you, because they have to eat. That's what, if you ask them, they say, we have to eat. That's why we are there. It's not like we like the man, we have to eat. So I think the administration has a big problem moving forward. I never knew this would happen. If you tell me, I will tell you that to have a protest, not in my wildest dream, to this magnitude. So I think this is I don't know if they saw this coming, but this was a massive blow to the administration. Your final thought on these topics. So we move to the next one.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Sam, for that brilliant contribution. Just like you said, this is a wake-up call for Mr. Barrow. And I believe next year will be even more people on the street than this year, And then Barrow is somebody that diaspora people supported a lot to fight against President Jammeh. And we have seen in 2017, when he came to the United Nations General Assembly meeting, the welcome he had, and then, the interest in the Gambian people in the promotion of democracy. And compared to this last visit, you can tell that there's a huge difference. And it's a wake-up call. And just like Sam said, when people come out to express something, it's a time for you to listen and to what they are saying. And when you came to power, what you were, when he came to power, he was actually thanking and the people in diaspora for the role that they have played in bringing back democracy in the Gambia. So if you go back to the same people that you were praising a few years ago, and you started seeing those people going against you, it's a wake-up call. It doesn't mean that they hate you, but because they feel the way you should do to change things in the country, it's not happening. The people that you surrounded yourself were the people that were even against you, Mr. President, to be sworn in the country. The people that you surrounded yourself were the people that never even voted for you in 2016. So something is going wrong somewhere. So the people standing against you or showing you what you need to do is the people who have supported you, who genuinely, campaigned for you, who genuinely put their resources to see you get elected. So those people on the street in New York, they don't hate Barrow. They just want to tell him to know this is what is happening in our country. And is everybody will agree, put politics aside, everybody will agree that there is corruption. Even if I was there, I would love to be there, but I didn't have the opportunity or I didn't have the time to be there. And I want to raise to President Barrow that, the community of, Combo are seriously being marginalized. I want to express that. I want to let the president know that land conflict in our country is becoming out of hand. I want to let the president know that our fisheries resources, because we have mineral resources according to the surveys they have, but we are yet to exploit those mineral resources yet, apart from the zircon and the silicon that we are mining right now. But our fisheries resources is being overexploited. If I was at the protest, I want to let the president know that we need to let the Chinese not control our ozone. We don't need to let the Senegalese coming in the fisheries agreement between Gambia and Senegal, because the greater part of the number of fish that the Senegalese are catching in our waters, they are being sold in Dakar, not in Gambia. Only a fraction percentage of that fraction of their catches is been remaining in the Gambia. Most of them are all going to Senegal. I will tell the president that we need to review that fisheries agreement with Senegal. We need to make sure that the Chinese are not over exploiting, the fish that our poor people depend on, like bonga fish, the Moroccos and the Yai Boyos, which the Chinese are over exploiting to make a fish meal to feed pigs in China when our people are hungry. The fish is very expensive right now. With 3 pieces of bonga fish is $25, which used to be like $5. So if Mr. President is not aware of this because he has all free, everything is for free for him in State House, then we need to let him know that the common people are suffering. Fish is becoming expensive, not because we don't have fish in our water, but because the fish is being overexploited to feed pigs in China. The fish is being overexploited because majority is going to Senegal to be sold over there. So Gambians are actually, not getting the supply we need, even though we have the enough supply. So those are the things I want to tell the president. But doesn't mean that we hate the president, but we want to let the president know that our fisheries is one of our big source of income that can build our economy if we manage it sustainably. You understand? Without even relying on the donors. Our fisheries can bring a lot of money for our community in our country, that we can develop other sectors like health, so that our women should not be dying in a hospital bed. Those are things that we need to put ahead for the president. And if the president will be listening to the Gambians, those are the concerns that he should listen to, rather than people pressing him. We Barrow, we are here for you. Barrow 2026, Barrow 3032. Those are after their interests, because some of them come to the, those protests, they are only after their interest. Maybe, who knows whether they have been given, to come over there. Nobody knows. But the people, no matter how few they are, if they are raising concern that is happening in the country, I think you should listen to those people. So I think this is a wake-up call for Mr. Barrow. And just like Sam said, I hope when they go back, they will reflect on that, because it's not something that he expects. And then this is just the beginning of the first international protest against Barrow government after diaspora's huge support for Mr. President, in 2016. So, if he doesn't change, a lot of this will come out, because now Gambians are aware. Nobody's going to fool anybody. People are aware of their rights. And then if Mr. Barrow, what he preached in 2016 is what he really wants to do, and then he should start listening to what people are telling him, and then stop listening to people who are surrounding him based on their own interests or on their own political interests. In fact, are those people who never even voted for him. Those are the people who even stood out very clearly that the Mr. President is not going to be sworn in the Gambia. So if you have the same people surrounding Mr. Barrow today, those are people who are not going to tell him anything good about the people in diaspora or what they can do. Or people that, well, I'm glad that Dusan came to the United States and he have seen and he have learned, and he even said that we should all emulate United States, to build our capital city, So I hope he will tell that message when he go back, so that that when the diaspora people speak, they don't just speak because they hate the president or his politics. It's because what they are seeing in where they are is what they want their country to be. And that's what is not happening. And that's why diasporans are more vocal, because they know the situation. They know the potentials of Gambia. If we work together, if we support our government, if we have a good leadership, if we manage our money coming in, because it's a small country. During Barrow's time, a lot of aid and grants have entered in that country. If we manage them sustainably, we will not be crying about women dying every day on their beds. Farmers will not be complaining about lack of fertilizers or fertilizer being expensive. So these are the real facts, and we are not going to sugarcoat it. The president needs to listen to what the people's concerns are and see how best we can do it. And then, stop labeling people as people who don't like development or people who hate Gambia. No, we are past the stage now. We are past that stage now. We all love our country. This is why we are talking, Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you. What is your final thought on that, Sam, on this topic?
Yeah. In response to what the presidential advisors were talking about and talking against the protesters, I would like to say that, it is time It is time to stop blaming each other. It's time to stop blaming people for doing things and accusing the protesters as these are from a certain group. I mean, they are talking the reality. So, you know, we need to face the reality. Everything they said is true in our country. Everything the protesters are protesting against, it is true. So the president need to reflect that, acknowledge that there is a problem, and all of these are problems, and I think he knows that, and really turn the table and say to himself, I need to listen to these people and fix the problem. I need to do something about what they're protesting. And of course, the advisor is saying these people, I think it was Dusano or somebody that says that they need to go and farm in Gambia. Well, before you tell people in America to go farm in Gambia, look at the Gambians that are already in Gambia that you as a government could not support to farm. So why would you expect people to leave their jobs and leave what they're doing here, supporting their families, to go and farm in Gambia when you're providing donkeys to people to farm with? I mean, donkeys, you know, the another century back that people use. Now the world is with technology now. You know, you look at what the farmers are using in America. If you provide that for people in Gambia, we should provide them for that first before you tell people in America to go farm in Gambia. When you can even provide a good medical supply for them, for the people in Gambia. You know, when you, I mean, it's a shame that they say things like that to try to really bypass the truth or speak the truth. They need to speak the truth. Yes, there's corruption in Gambia. Yes, there's lack of control in Gambia. Yes, there's security threat and security issues in Gambia. And yes, a lot of our funds are being misused because we could have built Gambia to be one of the best in Africa, and we did not do that. You know, from independence to now. I'm talking from independence to now. So we need to stop spending our money and spend it on our country and stop spending it on individuals and hold people accountable. There's so many millions and millions and millions that we lost in our country. And up to now, I don't know about you guys, but I have not heard any single person that was arrested, prosecuted, and put in jail, and his assets confiscated to pay the state for all the losses that they created for us. I have not seen that happen. So unless you face the truth and call it spade a spade, things are not going to change. So therefore, the president needs to hold himself accountable, listen to what the protesters are saying, and do something about it rather than his political advisors criticizing those people. And they are people, of course, these are people that are demanding nothing but the truth. That's it. That's all they're doing. They're demanding the truth. Let's have a fair game here. And so at the end of the day, it's a shame. It's a shame for the president to see all of these people come out, for him to be taken through the back door, you know, of a hotel to be able to get to where he needs to go. All of those are shames. And if I were him, I would really look at myself in the mirror and say, what in the world am I doing? What made these people think that way? What made these people block the entrance or exit for me to get out? So that is a wake-up call. Like I said earlier, he needs to think about that and see what he needs to do to turn the country around by starting with his own people. Eliminate the people that are causing the biggest waste in our country. Eliminate them, get them out of there. You know, they're just costing us money. We have a lot to do. We are far behind time. So at the end of the day, that's like I said, the key word is a wake-up call. I hope when he gets to his office, he sits down and change something for better.
Thank you. I think you guys have spoken well about this topic, and we can just transition to the second part of the discussion, which is the crimes, youths and crimes. We have recently seen a lot of murder cases in the Gambia, unprecedented. Again, in a time that is under this government's tenure. A lot of murder cases. We just heard about the guy who was killed by a lady like I think a week or two ago at Bako. We heard also about the Chinese businessman who was attacked, and we also heard about other folks been attacked elsewhere in the country. The crime rate is out of hand. People are not feeling safe in the country. It is about high time our security is put in place. Why? Why is this the problem? That's one thing we need to nail down. And what is the solution? Because people are afraid. People live here, they go abroad, they go back home, they get robbed. They get gun pointed, you know, and things like that. Why now? What is the issue? Some people are killing their own parents. I had someone who killed their parent, and after crying that she's mentally, I mean, what is going on? When we were growing up in the Gambia, we don't hear anybody has a mental problem and kill their parents or do something weird or hang themselves. They found a young girl. All this happened this year and prior years. What is the issue? What has changed? So let's look into that, and then we can just explain that. Barbara.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sawane. That's another hot topic in our country today. And then if you sum it up all together, it's all about, the country and the state we are in right now. So it's very, very sad that this month of September alone, we have those number of murder cases in the country, which I've never had for many, many years. Like in 1 month, you have like 4 to 5 people, that were murdered like that. It's very, very sad. And then our thoughts and prayers are with the families of the victims. And then, it's a concern for all of us because nobody is safe. It could be your family, it could be my family, if the situation doesn't improve, But these are all signs that, our leadership need to step up and then, take care of issues that are very concerning our country. And in any country where there is too much fornication, drugs, alcohol, and youth unemployment, these are some of the things that are usually the end results. And we have seen in other African countries, like in South Africa, for example, I'll mention Johannesburg. The reason why Johannesburg, the crime rate is too high is because unemployment, is rampant in South Africa. And then you have a number of youths into drugs and alcohol. And we all know that these are addictions. If you are addicted to drug and alcohol, you will make sure by all means to go and feed that bad attitude of yours. You will make sure you go and steal, to satisfy that bad habit. You will make sure, even if it's going to break your mother's wardrobe, you will do it. Trying to steal the jewelries or the clothes or anything to steal it, to go and sell it so that you can satisfy that bad attitude of yours. Like you're saying, when we are young, when we are growing up, there's not much this crime. When I was going to high school, I was in Latrikunda, Uringanya. By then there was a city pub around in Dipakunda. That's where we normally had those crimes happening because there are prostitutes there. It was a bar. It was a bar where people get drunk. When people get drunk, they fight. They stab each other. Prostitution. People fight in competition of women. Those are the times that you hear those kind of things. And those people, most of them that go into those city pubs, are the ones that are going to Serekunda market, breaking people's shops, stealing from, pickpocketing from people's. So this is what is a concern in our country, and this is what we need to address. All right. There are a lot of youths that are unemployed. They are not into education. They are not into skills. The government should set priority into this and see how to reduce the number of youths that are unemployed. People who have problems or scholarships to further their education, see how to give them scholarships. People who are dropped out from school, try to see how to build their skill level. And you can do that by introducing a national scheme, national service scheme, where people graduate from grade 12, even before you start employment, or even go to do other, higher education, you serve a mandatory 1 year or 2 year national service. During that time is when, you inculcate the sense of patriotism into the minds of the younger generation, so that they can know that they are Gambians, they need to contribute to the economy of our country. They knew that the cream of our nation is the youths. So their time, their energy is needed to build our country. When you don't do that, then people will find ways out to survive. And that's why we have a high rate of illegal migration happening in our country, because people have dropped out. People in employment, because we have been seeing security personnel quitting their job, going backward, because they feel they have a long way to go before they can even be promoted or to even do something for themselves, to improve the life of their families. So all of this is a concern, okay? The drugs there should be zero tolerance to drugs, especially hard drugs. And we have seen how many tons of drugs have entered our country in the last 2 years. And still some of those cases are still ongoing. And we don't even know who are responsible, because we don't know who is Banta Keita. We don't know who is Banta Keita. So when those things are happening in our country and the government is not taking steps to address them.
Yeah, they've been quiet about Banta Keita's issue. I mean, I would expect somebody to be giving us, continuous briefing about something happened in our country, and we need to investigate. We are investigating. This is the progress we've made. But why is it that everybody's quiet?
Exactly, because they are giving us impression that everything is under control. The state is governing. The state is investigating. The drug squad is doing their job. But people have been raising concern. Or all what they say is everything is in contact. They are doing their investigation. So we are waiting for them. And people will continue to ask until we get to the bottom of it. Because we want to make sure that ton of drug that is being seized is not going in the streets.
In the wrong hands. In the wrong hands.
Yeah, in the wrong hands. Because some people can do anything to get corrupted, to get big money, and then in expense of our youths. So we'll keep continue action, but not only Banta Keita case, there are a lot of drug cases that has been, reported in the Gambia that we have been caught, but still we don't know anything that's happening. And this is what is going into the streets. People are killing each other, so we have to be serious about that. So this is one of the reasons that is increasing high rate of crime in our country. And when we're able to control that, then obviously the youth's mind will be preoccupied on something else, and then the crime rate will reduce, and then people will have decent life, people will have employment, and then people will get jobs to look after themselves. People who have jobs will not go into killing or stealing. It's only the unemployment people. They have to survive. They need to get married. Some of them are already family men. They have to look after their family. They have to survive. That's what is prompting them to go into something which is illegal. And then at the end of the day, they killing themselves, and then and then stay in the country and they're putting us backward. So this is very, very important for government to look at it. And many people are saying the security sector reform needs to be done as quickly as possible. Because one thing, why many people are now quoting Jammeh time, this was not happening Jammeh's time. Because yes, Jammeh doesn't joke with security, because he knows that his life depends on security. Because at the time when he knows that he is going into dictatorship, and also the lot of coup attempts that went into the country trying to get him to power, he knows that when I joke with the security, my life and my tenure in office is even at risk. That's why Jammeh never joked with security. It's for his own interest, but it's also for the interest of our government. That's why any security threat they see, they want to act very fast. And that includes the 40 Ghanaians that died, because they captured them already. But they think those are people, mercenaries coming to get the government out. So they acted very quickly and they do what they want to do. But otherwise, they could have arrest those people, find out what is happening, because they were not armed. There was nothing harmed there. But they don't joke with security because they don't want to take that mistake, So I think Barrow should also take security measures. I know he's relying on ECOWAS and he's relying on Senegalese soldiers that are
Well,
protecting.
how is he going to take security measures? Do the same thing like Jammeh did, or what? Or in a different manner?
Well, basically, because we are saying what Jammeh was doing in terms of security measures, some of them were not correct. And that's why we say a huge money has been spent to do security sector reform. So let him do the reforms and come back to the Gambian people and say, this is what we think the security reform should look like. And then whether it is something going to work or not, then we can look at it. But they said they are going to change what Jammeh was operating, and still they haven't come out with their own plan. So what is the reform all about? Do we have enough soldiers? Do we have enough police? And what can we do to crime police? What was Jammeh was doing effectively? And we learn from what Jammeh was doing right, without compromising the security, take that good part, and the areas that he was not doing part, which like people disappearing, people being killed, and then people being arrested and detained for more than 72 hours, get rid of that. Get rid of those bad things. Allow people to, to go through the court procedures. Give them maximum of 72 hours, either prosecute them or release them. We improve on those parts. But if you engage in security sector reform for the last 5 years or 4 years, and still nothing has been forthcoming, people will continue to ask what is going on. Yeah, so those are some of the things that are contributing to high crime rates, and the youths are, unfortunately.
Why do you think Barrow's government is not pushing the security reform? Are they also trying to an initiative not to go through, or are they doing it because they don't want to upset the public and the supporters?
Well, some of the people that were implicated in those security lapses are the same people serving in the security right now. You understand? So, and those are some of them are the ones that are taking leadership of this security sector reform, like the president's advisor on security. He was part of Jammeh's team. He was an ambassador, and he has been an interior minister before. So if now that the same person is the head of security reform, and then he is part of that leadership that was there 22 years doing some of these things, and he has been implicated in the TRRC report. I mean, if an area that he is implicated, or set of teams are implicated, or Jammeh himself is implicated in certain areas, he will try to slow down those reforms, efforts, so that things doesn't harm him or the people that were close to him or the people that he was directly supervising.
So protecting your people, the few people,
yeah,
you're gonna put the country at stake.
Yeah,
protecting few people so that they can support you to stay in power. And then now you have crime rates going up, and then the reform hasn't really happened because
yeah.
So you like, I mean, which one is more important? I think having to protect the people and having the security is more important than protecting those people, and then people are getting harmed.
Well, the people are more important right now.
In the light skills.
Yeah,
I think the other way is more important, but I just don't got it.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are a lot of factors in security sector reform, because we want to equip our police so that we don't have the excuse of we don't have enough vehicles to patrol. You understand? Wherever do you think the security sector, I mean, we can even utilize those excess human resources, because the security sector in the Gambia, they are the people that the security institutions are the institutions that are hiring a high number of people in the civil service than any other government institution. You understand? So if the police have a lot of people, or the army have a lot of people, and you don't need that lot of armies, then you see how you can bring those people to the other sector of security that is lacking human capacity. Build those capacities, improve on them, and then see how we can even, get more equipment, and then, police, whatever the police need, because the police are directly responsible for the security of the country when it comes to, working with the population. The soldiers, of course, they also have a role to play. The paramilitaries have the role to play. But the security are the police are in the forefront here when it comes to security of our country. So look at that sector. What do we need to do and improve so that our police can have the necessary equipment, what all they need so that they can respond to crime as quickly as possible, and then, team up. So we are curious to know what the security sector reforms are, their recommendations are, so that our country can be more secure, and then we can improve on the lapses that we had the 22 years ago, and then build on the strength that Jammeh was using to control security in our country. But it also comes down to leadership, because whatever the police are doing, the president is supervising the Minister of Interior, and the Minister of Interior is supervising the police. So if a crime rate is going on and the police are complaining that we don't have enough resources, well, he can call the Interior Minister and find out, what is going on, what can we do as a government, and take leadership. And some of these things, when a president come out and give his voice out, it carries a lot of weight, like Jammeh will do in various platforms. If anybody is caught murdering people here, ko hamne danga dof defulu benga rey Gambian fee, dumala bala. If the court says you are going to jail, dumala bala, and if you kill somebody, we'll kill you. It's just word of mouth that a president can stand and say, and people will take you seriously. But people are saying Barrow is quiet. Barrow don't talk about any issues. Barrow will only react when it's a political issue. It's only when you see him reacting on political issues. But when things like this happen, he's saying the police are doing their job, so let's allow them to do their job. When the police are doing their job, but you also come out and give your speech, it carries more weight, because in fact you are putting the pressure on the Minister of Interior that you are aware of the situation and that you are coming, you want to do something about it. Of course, we do see government spokesperson do make a press release when these situations happen to express the concern of the president. But it doesn't only stop from there. We need to see the president address the nation on this issue in consultation with the Minister of Interior, so that people can know that crime, drug, and alcohol will be a zero tolerance, like we normally do in our policy papers. On the papers, yes, it will be there that we are very serious about it, but in actions, they are not coordinated. So that's what we need to be serious about in order to cut the crime rates in our country. And that's what Jammeh succeeded in doing, because he doesn't only wait on the Minister of Interior to come out. Jammeh will come out and say, I'm not going to compromise on security, because his life depends on security, because him being accused of dictatorship, he knows that if my security is not controlled, my office is not even safe. Yeah, and that he can even talk to the militaries in the camp. Anybody trying to overthrow me, my friend, you are wasting your time, because I know whatever you are doing. So I'm not compromising security. So Jammeh protecting himself, not compromising himself security, is also a good benefit for the country, because we know that every single thing, any single security lapse that comes from any army commander or police IGP, he is going to hold you accountable. So that way, that helped the country, and it helped us a lot. Yeah.
Thank you, Mfama, for that in-depth. Sam.
Yep. Yeah, Mfama, thank you. Mfama spent a good time here, talking about important things that need to happen in our country when it comes to security. So thanks, Mfama, for that. And Mr. Sewane, thanks for getting in there and also bringing some questions out there, which makes it more interactive. So thank you for that. Yeah, when I look at security, security reform, I'll start with that, was something that was part of the agenda on the table when the coalition government took place. So unfortunately, that's not been done. Not been done the way we expected it to be done. And as a result, our security threat continue to happen. People are getting killed, murdered in murder cases in our country. There's a lot of things that contribute to all of this. Of course, unemployment is one thing. Cost of living is another one. Cost of living is going high, and people's salary can't meet the demand, and they can't live within that income, and they all find that they're going to find ways to get extra money. For some people, it's worth going to rob people. Some people won't do that, but there are some that are doing that. At the end of the day, the way I look at security issues in our country is the president needs to take ownership of this. He needs to take ownership of this. He needs to make sure security reform gets done. He needs to make sure that our police are equipped, because, if you look at the world, the army is not the one responsible for internal security. You need to empower your internal security, which is the Ministry of Interior, to make sure, number one, when budgets are getting done, I've said this before so many times, when budgets are getting done, that the security interior ministry get enough budget to make sure that, over time, if they do 2-3 years in a row, giving them enough budget to be able to get their tools and technology that they need, and of course, training they need to be able to empower the security force to do their job. If that happens, our security will start to get better. But unfortunately, that's not happening. And I've said this before, our Gambia police, we are at a time where they need to be really empowered. They need to really have everything they need. That includes vehicles, that includes walkie-talkies, that includes proper training. They need weapons. They all need to be armed. They need to be armed, because if the police are not armed, and you have criminals coming out with weapons, I mean, you're not giving your police any chance to fight the criminals. I mean, you can't go after criminals with weapons when you have nothing. All you have is a flashlight, a flashlight in your hand. What are you going to do with a flashlight, when somebody has a gun, so really, and what are you going to do when you can't even get to the crime scene? You don't even have transportation. You don't even have a bicycle to get there. Criminals are going with vehicles, and they're using taxis. They're using the vehicles. They're using all kinds of resources to get to places and rob and kill people. So it is the government's responsibility to tighten security by providing proper training, tools, and technology for security force, which is the police officers. Police officers today, we're in a modern world, and we're at a stage where we should be seeing a police car in every corner in the main capital city, in the suburb, in other words, in Serekunda, Banjul, Serekunda, Bakau, all of that densely populated area where there is more crime rate there than anywhere else. They need to be really full of police vehicles all over the place. I mean, every street you go, you should be seeing police officers patrolling the streets in the middle of the night, and stopping people and stopping vehicles and searching them and see what is their motive, what are they doing, and things like that, to be able to combat crime. And also, when the police have vehicles and they have weapons, then the criminals know that, well, the police can get to them any minute. It's not going to take 15-20 minutes to get to them. So they will really back off on a lot of things that they do. Not only that, when they know that the police also have weapons that can kill them, they will be more careful. The crime rate will go down, because people know that now you're not only going to a home to fight a homeowner there, when you go to fight a homeowner in their home, police will be at the door. They will be out there momentarily. They will be there, because there are police patrol cars in the streets every day and night. Those police patrol personnel that are officers that are armed, they have weapons to protect themselves. They have weapons to protect, not only protect themselves against the criminals, but protect the country, protect the citizenry. And people, basically the job is to protect the people and their assets. And the police should be equipped to be able to do that. They should have good communication tools, walkie-talkies, whereby when there's a criminal, a police dispatch get called and they said there's a crime in so-and-so place, you should see different police cars coming up, because it should be on their walkie-talkie. When they communicate that, everybody hears that. And all police officers in the area should be getting there with their weapons and getting ready to fight those criminals. So this is what we lack in Gambia. And police can even use horses. They can use horses and be in town with their guns with them. They could be patrolling and walking in the streets, day and night. These are things that they need to have. Unfortunately, we don't have the tools and technology for them and the proper training to do their job. Crime rate will continue to rise because there's drugs in the country. There's unemployment. The cost of living is going high. People are very desperate. They are desperate. And not only that, when crimes are committed, and the criminals that commit the crime don't see the consequences right away, it encourages more crimes. In other words, because criminals are going to think, those with a criminal mind that thinks that they can go rob a place, they can go rob a bank, they can rob people, individuals, take their money, take their cell phones, take their personal belongings and kill them. When they see that things like that can happen and there's no police presence, police don't come in and intervene, police don't get there quickly enough, police are not even armed, well, it gives the criminals the power in. They have the upper hand, and they will continue to do that to be able to earn a living and to be able to get stuff that they can sell in the black market and make money. So these are all things. There's a lot of things that contribute to that. So the security reform is very, very, very important. And I've said this a couple of years ago and even last year. In fact, security is currently on the table on my in my group, in my forum to discuss as well. I'm going to repeat the same thing that I said in the past. Gambia needs a security reform, and our security need to be armed and dangerous. That's what's going to fight the criminals. If the criminals know that, they will think twice before they go vandalize a place or go rob a place, go rob people. And of course, strict laws. In my eyes, and the way I think, my mentality, no one should even be killing an animal like a dog. You should not deliberately kill a dog. You should not deliberately kill a cat. They are living things. They deserve the right to live. Why should we be killing them? So if you think along that line, you're going to put a human being's life way up here and look at it as this is precious. Under no circumstance should anyone take somebody's life. That should never happen. That's why it should have the most consequence, and it needs to be. Our justice system need to do their job as well. Police prosecution need to be faster. Everything is slow in Gambia. We need to rapidly move into things. Get all the facts, and prosecute these criminals and put them behind bars and put them where they belong. I am not even opposed to having that death penalty there. You kill somebody, you're going to get killed. And that's not an individual decision. That's the law. When it becomes the law, you kill someone, you're going to get killed. Well, guess what? And set the example. When you do that, I hate to see anybody losing life, but you've got to put yourself in the other person's shoes. If your sister get robbed and raped and killed, how do you think about the person that did that? What if that was your daughter? What if that was your son that get killed? Your son worked hard for his money. On his way to home from work, he get kidnapped and get killed. They take everything away from him. What do you think about those criminals? What do you think about your mother? Your mother that is doing her gardening and buying stuff and reselling them to go feed the family. What if your mother get robbed and they take all of that money and they stab her to death because she refused to let go the little amount that she thinks that she is going to take home and feed her family? What if that person get killed? What do you think about that criminal that killed your mother? Everyone is going to think, well, if I were there, if I see anybody attacking my mother, I'm going to kill you. That's what you think. So killing people should be out of the table, should be completely out of the picture. No one has any right to kill anybody. So that's why when those criminals kill people, they need to be dealt with that same consequence. And I think that would be one of the things that will stop the criminal activity.
The problem here is there is no muscle also on the side of the judiciary or on the side of the executive to deter crimes by punishment. Like you said, if there is no muscle, if you're not setting an example, like death penalty, which I'm not for it, I'm not against it. It depends on the circumstances. But if there's no aggressive, what I mean aggressive is aggressive muscle to say to scare the people. Like this president, I forgot this American president who say, if you want to lead, carry a big stick. to deter people. If you don't have that kind of leadership, everything maslaha, maslaha. At the end of the day, the criminals will have a lot of guts to come out.
Yep.
Yeah. So the point is that the laws are there. I don't think we have bad laws. The execution of the laws are the ones, the way we do it, that's where we go wrong. The
Yep.
laws are there. It's, even, but the way we go about executing it, having who is accountable and implementing it is the problem. So at the end of the day, like they would, the criminals are always thinking, if I do this, can I get away with it?
Yep, they will have the upper hand if the government doesn't do what they need
Exactly.
to do, enforce and do all of that. So
what do
the
you
way
think-
I look at it is,
How do we go about it?
yeah, the way I look at it is, there are different murder cases. People get killed for different reasons by different people and different motives behind them. Some are accidental, some are premeditated. A premeditated murder is a murder where someone calculates and think about, I am going to kill. They have that in their mind that they are going to attack someone and kill them. They plan it, the day, the time, and the place they're going to do that. That's premeditated. So someone that did that, that person has done it deliberately, and they deserve nothing but death penalty. In my eyes, that's what they deserve, because they planned it. Compared to someone that got into the fight with someone and they hit each other, and this person grab a weapon and you also grab a weapon, but you happen to be the lucky one to stab them first and kill them. That's not premeditated. That was circumstantial. There's a difference. That you were fighting to defend yourself when you killed somebody. There's a difference. Even though you kill someone, you kill somebody, you took somebody's life, you deserve your life behind bars forever in that case. But premeditated murder, I think they deserve the death penalty. And I think the government need to look at that and execute it. Just do it, get it done. Set an example. Set an example. When you set an example, that's when Jemma sets examples. When, even though I don't condone some of the things that Jemma did, I don't like them, and they should not have done. They should not have happened. But when you're a leader, you've got to be able to set good examples and fair examples. Something that is true, something that is the right example to set. When you set those in any circumstance, people hear you loud and clear. They know that they're not going to mess with this again, and they know that these are the consequences. If you
So why do you
that's what
think
you're gonna
this
get.
government? Why do you think this administration is not doing that?
Well, they are too lax. That's one. And two, I'm not sure what is behind all of the reasons, but they're really not budgeting enough money to support security. And they are breaking the laws themselves in some cases, or not following what the Constitution said in some cases. So therefore, they're not enforcing the laws. If they're not enforcing the laws, they're not going to be able to hold anyone accountable, because they're not holding themselves accountable.
Yeah, because if you're having all these Jammeh people who were, with Jammeh when he was doing this, and they have all the protocol, to make sure that they're on top of the security, you have most of the same people in your team. Why wouldn't you use that to your advantage, so that you can actually fight the crimes?
It comes down to leadership. That's always the key. It comes down to leadership. Who is leading? What are their leadership styles?
So
what is the leadership about?
In this case, is it that the Jammeh folks are not giving him the advice that Jammeh used to go by in fighting these crimes, or the president just don't want to take that route?
It could go either way. They may have given him that advice and he doesn't want to do it, or they may not have been given.
What would you think will want to make him not to do it?
Well, sometimes if you put sympathy before truth, you're not going to act right. So if the president is so sympathetic that he does not want to do certain things, well, criminal activities will continue to happen.
You don't think there's political reason behind it?
There are political reasons, of course, behind a lot of things. Yes, that is also there. So when there is a political reason behind it too, you won't do it because you think you're going to lose elections if you do that. So all of those play part. All of them, they all play
So
part.
maybe he's just clean heart. I mean, nice person, don't want any.
Yeah, well, sometimes Mr. Nice Guy does not solve the problem. It's not the solution. When you become a Mr. Nice Guy, you don't follow the truth. You don't follow the right. You don't do the right thing. My philosophy is do the right thing. Just do the right thing. If you always do the right thing, then you're following the truth. You will be holding yourself accountable and hold people accountable.
Because I know the Justice Department controls the justice and all these things, but president has, abilities to steam up, the way to govern from all the departments under him.
Absolutely.
He can, if he intensify that, I want certain things done. I want this area, that voice, that command is there for them to use. So they will not sound like, they are dictators, or they will not sound like they are, they're abusing power. But that tightness of law, to make so that it deters crimes, I think the president has that under their purview. So why not use it?
Absolutely. That's the question. That all boils down to the leadership. It boils down to leadership because presidents are involved in security a lot. They do security briefings. They get security briefings. They come out and call press conference.
Maybe
and talk about security issues.
The reason why borough government is not really using that because they have other coverage. They are covered by Senegalese soldiers, right? So he knows that Senegalese president around him, give him more security. Secondly, he's not really doing any human rights abuse. So he's not like Jammeh, so that, like people can really come out and be aggressive on him in terms of security. So now he knows that he has that coverage on his side. So he said, you know what? I don't need to do this. Push too much on, punishing crimes and become Mr. Tough Guy, because I know the fact of the matter is I don't need to worry about my security. Jammeh was doing it because he was protecting himself, like Mfamara said, in turn, end up protecting everyone. So this guy is not need to protect himself. He's already been protected because he has Senegalese and other troops and ECOWAS and so forth. So what the heck, I don't have to be worried because I'm already secured. So that could be another reason why.
That's a bad ideology because
I'm not saying it's a good ideology, but another reason why. Because if his foot is on fire, like, I had to do this, otherwise I'll be taken out.
Where I'm getting to here is the president need to.
He's gonna follow the path that Jammeh followed.
Where I am getting to is the president need to think that, well, he didn't put himself there. People put him in that position. So those people need to be protected. They put him in position for certain reasons. And those reasons include the obligations of a president.
Yeah,
okay? That also includes
he has also in stake. Also, one thing at stake with is if I want to be overreactive to people and being so this thing, it could backfire in the election, like you said. So he wants to make people happy at the same time. That is another thing at stake that he didn't probably want to do this. So you have to look at two ways. Which way do you choose?
You know what? Yeah, the truth should always be the truth. That's the way I look at things. If a president, any president, if the president look at the truth and follow the truth, even if he loses election, at least he will go with a very good record and a very good legacy that this president did not joke about security. This president did everything for his country, not just for himself. So having Senegalese there to protect him, that's temporary. They're not going to be there for the rest of his term. They're not going to be there forever. They might. They might, but really they shouldn't. They really shouldn't if we do the right things. That's why I say just do the right thing. Do the right thing and do the right thing.
We don't know how long he's going to stay. They're there and there's no sign of going back. So we don't know how long it's going to stay. Let's say it's another 5 years.
That is the wrong thing, because that's why I said do the right thing. The right thing is get security stable in our country so our own men and women in uniform can protect you rather than foreigners protecting you. And those people are getting paid, and to protect you. And you can have your own people protect you if you just do the right thing. When you're doing the right thing, you really normally don't have anything to worry about. Yeah. If I am a commander-in-chief, if I am a commander-in-chief and I do the right thing for my security force, I am not going to worry about anything else.
But what about if he because of a political reason he cannot do the right thing? Because again, the most important thing here for this government or for this president is political.
Well, yes, people can think that way. If you're not doing the right thing because of political things, because of political gain and political reasons, what happened is you end up seeing such embarrassments that happened in New York. All right, that's one.
Yeah.
You're also going to leave with a very bad legacy.
But African leaders don't care about legacy. If that's the case, Jammeh had it. He came 10 years, he was performing very well. He would have said that, what? Most African leaders don't think like that. They would have said that, I've done so much, I was loved. It's about time to move on to other things. But Jammeh would be celebrated today because he came as a young guy. But you know what? African people, they don't think about that. Most of them. Only very few leaders like Babangida and others, when they see that there's a sign of resistance, they will say, hey, let me get somebody. And I know that this time around, it's not going to work. And they go with respect. Very few African leaders do that.
That's why I said leadership. It all boils down to leadership.
Yeah. So legacy is out of the table for them.
Well, and it's important. Legacy is important because having a good legacy is very important. So when you leave, you can freely stay in that country and enjoy the rest of your life under your retirement.
It's important.
Right?
I agree.
It's very, very important.
Can agree
because if you don't do that, you can end up going exile somewhere else. That's what happened. The ones that don't follow their legacy and want to create a good legacy for them are the ones that end up booting out of the country. They get them out of the country. One way or the other, they end up going exile because of all the bad things that happen on their watch. Not only that, they will be held accountable for everything that they did. And in that case, meaning if there are misallocation or misappropriation of funds, those would be investigated. We had the Janet Commission here when Jawara was the president, and he came out came out because of the coup. Guess what happened? Jammeh and his people went after him and his ministers, and then they followed them and tried to hold them accountable and confiscated their assets. Right when Jammeh got into place. And then he ruled the country for whatever that many, 22 years or so. After he left, what happened? Burroughs government created Janet Commission and another commission to go after Jammeh's assets. And now they confiscated all of them and then took everything. And unfortunately, instead of bringing it back to the country, a lot of that has been misused. It's been mishandled, I'll put it that way. All right. So if you think about history, you look at what happened to African presidents. If I am smart and I'm a president, I will not let that happen into my country. I am not going to take a dime out of the country's resource so that when I leave presidency, well, they don't have 10-story buildings to take over from me because I wouldn't buy them. I wouldn't take them for that. I would only spend my own money on my assets. And I'll have proof that here's my salary, all the travels that I've done, the per diem that I got me this. Yes, I am able to afford that. You see what I mean? Rather than building mansions and doing all kinds of things. And then after you leave, they take all of that away from you. They freeze all your bank accounts. Then you go exile and you can't even see your own people in your country. What's good? What good does that do for you? Nothing. So it's best to just do the right thing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Barbara, what's your final words? Thank you, Sam, on that.
Yeah, thank you so much. The Senegalese president in Gambia is not going to be for a very long time, and it's not sustainable. So I hope the earlier the better. The president think about, the security reform.
Why do you think it's not sustainable?
Well, it's costing us.
Yeah.
You know, we cannot
That's
sustain
money.
it.
But then what about if that's more important than anything else?
Well, it's important
To
to
the
protect our,
government, to the president, or to the government.
it's important to protect our president because still we have German loyalists in this force, in the security force right now. So if the Senegalese had to leave, the president is not that safe. It's not that very safe right now, to be honest. It's not 100% safe without the Senegalese.
Would he be ever safe? I mean, at this office?
That's what we're waiting to see, because that's all depend on the security reform. You know, the people that they think have been implicated and they've supported Jammeh, let them get rid of them. They put them somewhere else, or you know, they should not be in where they are. You know, so failure to act on what the recommendations are is also going to determine how long the security sector reform is going to take place. You know, so these are all issues that needs to be put into consideration. But so far, so good. The Senegalese president will not be there forever. You know, it's not telling well. You know,
and then Senegalese presidents also is it's also like Senegalese are benefiting a lot from being in the Gambia and then a relationship, because now they can go through Gambia and launch their attack on the rebels through Fonyi. So it is something that I don't see this marriage between Senegal and Gambia ending anytime soon, because there's a lot of strategic benefit for Senegal. The Senegambia bridge is one of them, and this relationship with Casamance rebel is another one. So you and the president's security, since he doesn't, he's not really ready for Gambians to be around him as much as Senegalese. So putting all those in equation, I don't see this marriage ending anytime soon, unless the Gambians are willing to end the marriage.
Well, the marriage will end. It's not going to end because it's not going to. It's a marriage of convenience. So right now it is convenient, and like I said, our internal security is not that secretive anymore. Because somehow, somewhere, they are providing us security. So any internal security that we are discussing among ourselves, somebody somewhere in Senegal knows what our internal security are, because they are giving us bodyguard protection. That the person who protects our president also report to somebody, and that also report to somebody. And if you follow that, that line of communication, you'll find out that it's going beyond the borders, Yeah, because right now we entrusted the security of our president in their hands. So they have the right to know what is happening. We have the right to listen to their opinion and their suggestion, So whoever deployed the Senegalese men around our president wants to know what is happening, and he wants to detect his men. And now they want to listen to our people also on the ground. So those people have to coordinate their minds together, their internal arrangements together, so that those forces can listen. The Senegalese forces in the government and also our forces there in the government. Because if one goes against the other one, then there will be a problem. Because the other one say, well, if you don't go by what I say, then obviously why are we here? The other one say, well, I don't have the power to detect what is going to happen because I'm not in charge. So you see, so somehow, somewhere, we are not in total control, but those are security issues, and we hope everything will slow down because we know where we come from, and the dictatorship we came from obviously is prevalent, and there is a support. There is still loyals of the former president still in the service. We know that. We know how he handled the security. We know that. It doesn't matter what qualification you have. He based on a loyalty. If you're loyal to him, he can give you the chief of defense staff. But that's all what you want to see. But that's how Jammeh plays things. That's why even the security, they are afraid. Because once you are within and you don't know, they don't see that loyalty in you, then obviously it's not going to be good. Yeah, but the Senegalese president is not going to be there forever. So the earlier, the better we have the security reform and look at their recommendation and give our men in charge of security, then we can blame them if anything happens. But if they are not in charge, they'll be sitting on the periphery. They'll be like, well, we don't have the total control. So obviously I'm not irresponsible. So we're waiting to hear from them so we can get this done. But the Senegalese president, it's not going to be forever, and then it's not even good for our internal security.
I agree. Yeah.
You know, classified informations. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's the situation we are in, and I hope Mr. President will do quick, and then so that we can all sleep.
Thank you. Thank you, Famara. Thank you. Final word, Sam.
Yeah, I totally agree what Farmer was saying. And, you know, at the end of the day, the topic here is why do we have these too many murder cases in our country and things like that. It really, the answer is we need security reform. We need our security personnel to be protected so they can protect the people. We need them to be armed and with weapons. We need them to have the tools and technology, communication, transportation, all of it. They need to have all of it so they can have the upper hand on security. But right now, the criminals have the upper hand because the criminals know that they can go commit a crime. It will take forever before the police can get there. And if they even get there, they will be coming empty-handed. So when the criminals know that, they will continue to commit crimes. But until and unless we change our security procedures by arming and training our police and giving them all the tools and technology they need to fight crime, until we can get to that point, I don't see the crime rates going any lower. So the president, of course, needs to take charge here and look at a security reform and look at strategies that he could take to cut down the crime rate in our country. And one way to know that too is, again, arming your own security people, but also look at, you know, analysis. Look at last month versus this month, last year versus this year. That's how you can gauge your numbers and see where we are going. Are we heading in the right direction or wrong direction? If we're going in the wrong direction, change something. If you don't change anything, you're not going to get a different result. So the change is very important. Yep.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. So definitely this has been a great topic. I'm pretty sure, you know, we really dip in the president's visit to New York, and we were able to analyze it from both ends. Again, we are here impartial, looking at everything, you know, according to national interest. I mean, we put Gambia's interest first on this platform when we discuss things. So our viewers should know that, and we should also show the fact that, you know, we look at, you know, we speak from the best of our ability. We are perfect and we are not experts. We just come here and as citizens, concerned citizens, and express what is better. So I think, you know, crime also is a very important issue, and then the youth. So we exhausted that topic as well. So we thank everyone for watching, and definitely thank you, Sam, and thank you, Famara, for joining, and myself. All right.
Thank you. So, thank you, Famara. Thank you, Mr. Swan. Thank you all. Yeah.
Thank you, all viewers as well. We catch up next week. Thank you.
Bye now.
All right. Take care.